Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Sammy Ketchum, and welcome back to Sammy Ketchum TCG. Tonight, we are going to be taking a look at one of the first decks from Lost Origin, Zoroark Vstar. That's right, Zoroark Vstar. Alright? This is going to be the first in many deck lists that we are going to be talking about on the channel for Lost Origin. We're going to go ahead and get started with this deck list, and I'll explain things as I go. Alright? Alright. First off, we have ourselves 4 copies of Zoroark Vstar. Alright. It has 270 HP. Alright. It is weak to fighting. And it has an attack and a Vstar ability. We're going to go over the attack first. Alright, the attack for 2 colors energy. It does 50 damage times the amount of damage counters on all of your Pokemon in play. So if each of your Pokemon has a single damage counter on them, you could do up to 300 damage. So yeah, that's right. So if each one of them has a damage counter on them, you count 50 times the amount of each of your Pokemon that has a damage counter, you can do up to 300 damage. You know, since you have 6 Pokemon, 6 times 5 is 30. Just add a 0 on the end of that, and you get 300. Easy math, right? Alright. But what we could do to make Zoroark go a little bit faster is we can attach a double turbo energy to him to get him attacking in 1 turn. But the downside to the double turbo energy is that this will be minus 20 damage because of the double turbo. Now, but what does that put you at? Well, how much damage are we doing now? We're doing 280 damage now, which actually is still really good because we're one-shotting most of the Pokemon V-Stars that are in the format, which is basically what mostly everybody is playing right now. So that's still really good. Alright, with a choice belt, you're hitting 310 against Pokemon Vs, which is still really good. There's still a couple Pokemon VMAXs in the format. If you want to put Halucha in your deck, you can, to maybe hit those numbers, but honestly, you really don't need to because there's not too many that are around. You know, so, it's nothing really too big to worry about. Now, what's really good about Zoroark Vstar is the Vstar ability. Alright? The Vstar ability, and what the Vstar ability does is that you can discard your entire hand and draw 7 cards. So that's really good, at least for a one-time use. So, like, let's say you wanted to boss in the same turn that you wanted to do research. This is how you could do it. You could do a boss, and then you could discard your hand and draw 7 cards and get, like, key pieces you need to set up his attack. Alright? So that's really good. Or if you wanted to use another type of supporter or something, and then get this ability off. You know? Or what you could do is you could use something like Marnie. Use Marnie, and then if you needed more cards, you know, just dump your hand and draw 7 more cards. Which is really good. You know? I mean, just something to, you know, to think about. Like, this is a really good ability. A really decent attack. Even though you're damaging yourself, I think this has great potential in the upcoming format. Four copies of Zoroark V. It has 210 HP. Alright. It has 2 attacks. The first attack, is the first attack colorless? Oh my god. The first attack is colorless. So you don't even have to have an energy card for you to get that attack off, I don't think. Oh my god, that's busted. But you do 30 damage, and you can switch this Pokemon with a Pokemon on your bench, which is actually really good if you're going like second. You know, you get them out of the active spot, which basically makes them kind of like unreachable unless your opponent has a boss. But even that can be fixed too, because if your deck plays Diancie, the Diancie that has the ability that says you can't boss up, you know, Pokemon Vs from the bench, you know, then you can protect yourself a little bit. But this deck doesn't play Diancie, or at least this version of it doesn't. But, you know, that is an option if you wanted to play Diancie. Alright? But that is really, really good. You know, getting them out of the active spot, out of harm's way. That's very good. Now, the second attack for 3 colorless energy, 130 damage. You can move an energy from this Pokemon to another one of your Pokemon. We will never use that attack in this deck, because we're only using double turbo energies, so we will never have 3 colorless energies on this Pokemon. Just a note. Continuing on with the Pokemon from Lost Origin, we have ourselves 3 copies of Gengar. Now, Gengar is especially just in here for its ability. Alright? If this card is in your discard pile, you can put him on your bench, and if you do, you put 3 damage counters on him. Now this is really important in this deck because it fuels Zoroark Vstar's attack. So he gets damage counters on him, comes from your discard pile, put him on the bench, takes 30 damage. The 30 damage fuels the Vstar's attack, which means he does 50 more damage. Now, and also this is also really good because you also have the damage pump card, which we're going to talk about a little bit later in the video. What the damage pump does is you could take some of the damage counters off of him and move them around to other Pokemon that don't have damage counters on them, so you could do more damage with Zoroark Vstar's attack. So they all kind of work together. Alright? We're not going to use the attack, so we're really not going to talk about it. You know, we don't use any pre-evolutions or anything like that. So he's just going to sit on the bench just so we can have those damage counters on him. Alright. Time for the draw engine. We'll just add these in here too. 2 copies of Bibarel. Alright. He's in it for its ability. Once during your turn, you may draw cards until you have 5 cards in your hand. This is really, really good. Just in case if you get Path to the Peak or something like that, you know, this will get you out of the, you know, this will help you draw on the path. If you get Rock Sand, this can help you. This can help you draw if you get Rock Sand. You know, if you're ahead on prizes, things like that. So I mean, it's just a really, really good draw card for this deck. So you've got Bibarel, the draw cards. You've got Hisuian Zoroark Vstar's ability that can draw cards. You've got Research, you've got Marnie, you've got Crobat, got tons of consistency cards to help you play this game, which is very, very good. I really, really love the engine for this deck. 1 copy of Crobat V. It's in it for his Dark Asset ability. When you play it from your hand, you can draw up to 6 cards. So if your hand's a little low, plop them from your hand, draw up to 6. Really good. 1 copy of Manaphy. Manaphy is very important in this deck because all of your Pokemon are going to have damage counters on them already. So they're going to be a little bit easier to KO. So if your opponent has something like Rapid Strike Urshifu or something that could target the bench to attack, you know what I'm saying? You want Manaphy in here to protect your bench so they won't get hit. So he's very, very important against spread decks. Now, I mean, it won't stop damage counters, but it will stop damage, and that's important. Four copies of Professor's Research, self-explanatory. Two copies of Marnie. Three Boss's Orders. Four Quick Ball. Four Ultra Ball. Four Trekking Shoes. And here's another new card for Damage Pump. Now what this card does is that you could take, when you play it from your hand, you could take up to 2 damage counters from one of your Pokemon and place them on any of your other Pokemon in any way that you like. So it's really, really good for getting damage counters off your Pokemon, off some of your Pokemon, putting them on other Pokemon, the ones that don't have damage counters on them, to fuel Hisuian Zoroark Vstar's attack. Also, you can also use this to get damage counters off to save you from getting knocked out. Like it can basically turn the tide between your opponent trying to Yoga Loop you. If they want to Yoga Loop you with the Medicham, you can stop that. You can stop little kinky KO plays with the Inteleon, with the Rapid Strike Inteleon, trying to ping you for 2 damage and then KO something in the active. So I mean, there's many ways that you could kind of do that with Damage Pump in this deck. Three copies of Energy Lotto. Energy Lotto is really good in this deck because we're only playing Special Energy. We're only playing Double Turbo Energy, and we only have 4. So this helps us search out the Double Turbo Energy. Look at the top 7 cards of your deck and search your deck for an energy card, add it to your hand, and then shuffle the rest back into your deck. Very, very good. Alright, 2 copies of Evolution Incense. One copy of Hisuian Heavy Ball. They help you find your basics like Crobat and stuff. Three copies of Choice Belt. 2 copies of Air Balloon, 3 copies of Gatejaw Bog. Now, Gatejaw Bog is important to this deck because once you play a basic Pokemon from your hand, you put 2 damage counters on them. Alright? This basically helps you put damage counters on your own Pokemon, which fuels Hisuian Zoroark's attack, and it also softens up your opponent's Pokemon as well. So, you know, it's basically a 2-sided sword, which is very, very good. I could add a 4th one in here if I like, but I like it at 3. Last but not least, 4 copies of Double Turbo Energy. Alright. Alright guys, that is the deck. When we come back, we will do the layout. Alright guys, we are back. And this is the layout here. Look at them skills, boy. Sammy has learned to lay out. Alright, this is the deck. I did draw inspiration from other content creators who have also done Zoroark Vstar deck profiles. This deck list is a combination of kind of like all of them, you know, minus a couple of cards here and there, you know. The Hisuian Heavy Ball in this deck could be like a second Crobat, because sometimes you really need that Crobat in the beginning to get going. And with you only having one in the deck, if that thing gets prized and you have a really, really sucky hand going first, it's really, really going to hurt you really bad. So either another Crobat, or keep the Hisuian Heavy Ball in so you can find that, or any other basic you need in your prizes, or just, you know, take it out for the Crobat or something like that. That's probably one of the only cards I'll probably substitute. Actually, correction, I may take out something and maybe put in the Diancie, so you could use Hisuian Zoroark V's first attack. That is also a good option in the beginning, but that's like kind of being cute, so, you know. I mean, other than that, you know, I think this is solid. Oh, also, the Lucario build. I think the Lucario build is actually decent as well. You know, Lucario has the ability that you can you put 2 damage counters on it, and you can search your deck for like a fighting energy and attach it to it. So he attaches energy to himself, and you put 20 damage on it. You put 20 damage on it, you fuel Zoroark Vstar's attack. Also, the Lucario could be a great attacker. You know, it could basically hit for weakness on other Zoroark decks. It could also hit weakness on Arceus, Vstar, things like that. So the Lucario can be an attacker. So Lucario is really, really, really a decent choice. But I like Gengar. I went with Gengar this time for like the little engine, because I think Gengar is kind of just a little bit faster out the gate and getting him on your bench and getting things set up. But, you know, either way you slice it, Zoroark Vstar will have a good partner, you know, for support. You know, either way you slice it. So that is it. All right. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, mischief managed.